Well, hello everyone and welcome to the RaceWeek Road to F1 review. Now, considering everything that happened in the Formula 1, it's easy to forget that there was a Formula 2 weekend that took place, which saw some quite interesting racing. But today I am going to review the Formula 2 weekend and talk about what went down in the two races that we saw. Before we go into the review, make sure you leave a like, comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more RaceWeek content. Follow us on Twitter at RaceWeek_show. Hopefully that account will be back up soon. And make sure you go to the RaceWeek website, raceweekblog.com, for more RaceWeek content. So, without further ado, let's go in to let's talk about the feature race. This is not the correct slideshow, but I'll get that up. I don't know why it keeps locating to the wrong one, but the feature race took place on Saturday morning. And it was Callum Ilott who was on pole position, but he did not get the start that he wanted, and he dropped behind Felipe Drugovich. Whilst in the meantime, Mick Schumacher got an incredible start from P10 on the grid to P4. It was a bad start for Guan Yu Zhou after a little bit of unlucky contact with Mick Schumacher forced him to pit for repairs. Real shame for him. Another stroke of bad luck for the Chinese driver. He has been the most unlucky driver this season by far. Whilst Callum Ilott in the early stages was struggling, he was being passed. Here he is being passed by Marcus Armstrong, and then being passed by Mick Schumacher, who obviously at this point his medium tyres were going off. And it wasn't long before he pitted. Whilst towards the back of the field, Yuki Tsunoda, after his qualifying spin, fighting his way through the field. Here he is getting past, I believe that's Jack Aitken in the Campos. After the pit stops, Callum Ilott came out just behind. His undercut resulted in coming out just behind Felipe Drugovich. But the Virtuosi was able to get through. Mick Schumacher pitted very late and he rejoined in fourth, what would actually be sixth place, behind the likes of Schwartzman, Armstrong. Schwartzman had a bad first stint, but he pitted earlier than everyone else and managed to undercut everyone. Here you can see Mick Schumacher getting past Marcus Armstrong, whilst a lot of the interest at the end was how far up could Yuki Tsunoda get. He eventually would progress up into seventh place. Towards the end of the race, like, Ilott was in the lead, but then Drugovich was able to get past the Virtuosi car and pull away. Whilst the battle for third was keeping everyone on their toes. Mick Schumacher had progressed to fourth behind Jehan Daruvala, but Daruvala and Schumacher looked set to get past, but Daruvala was standing his ground and was able to defend the position in the end. Felipe Drugovich eventually won the race, taking a convincing feature race victory. And this isn't the right result. It's going to the wrong folder for some reason. If I can get the right one up now. It was Felipe Drugovich who won the race ahead of Callum Ilott in second. Jehan Daruvala took his maiden Formula 2 podium ahead of Mick Schumacher in fourth, Nikita Mazepin in fifth, and Yuki Tsunoda managed to progress to sixth. Marcus Armstrong finished in seventh ahead of Robert Schwartzman in eighth. Really good recovery drive after a bad qualifying and a bad first stint, which saw him But he undercut everyone and was able to make his tyres last. And he was able to finish in reverse grid pole. Dan Ticktum finished in 9th ahead of Jack Aitken in 10th, Pedro Piquet then in 11th, Luca Giotto in 12th. It was Galeo, Zhu, Nissany, Delatrez, Alesi, Pourchaire on his debut finishing in 18th, Lundgaard having a very bad race finishing in 19th, Sato, Samaya and Markelov. All 22 cars finished. And then on Sunday morning, before everything happened in the F1, we had the sprint race, which was quite an interesting one in the end. Robert Schwartzman was on reverse grid pole, and he managed to successfully defend the lead. Yuki Tsunoda got a very good start, but he then lost out to... But he then had a puncture after contact with Armstrong. Don't know why it's automatically. There we go. He lost out to Marcus Armstrong, and then there was contact between them, which gave Tsunoda a puncture and dropped him down the order. Mick Schumacher was in 4th, but he did not have good race pace in the sprint race, in the second race of the season, like he did in the feature race in the end. As you can see, here he is getting passed by Nikita Mazepin. Callum Ilott was also looking like he was faster than Mick, but he was being separated from Mick by Jack Aitken. He eventually managed to get past Aitken in the end. And then he went for a move on Schumacher going into turn 10. But he messed it up and he hit the Carlin of Jehan Daruvala, which put Daruvala out the race, brought out the safety car. Ilott's front wing was damaged, and to add insult to injury, Ilott had a time penalty, which meant his chances of points were done. On the restart, Schwartzman held the lead, but the big interest was regarding Armstrong and Mazepin, and eventually Mazepin managed to get past Armstrong, but he struggled to reel in Schwartzman. Whilst Mick Schumacher, again, as I said, was dropping down the order, here he is being passed by Guan Yu Zhu. Whilst Louis Delatrez actually managed to pit under the virtual safety car, which resulted from Théo Pourchaire stopping out on track. Actually, I believe he pitted under the safety car, in fact. Here he is getting past Christian Lundgaard, and eventually he would progress rapidly up the order. Here he is passing Mick Schumacher. And then he actually would get up to 4th place behind his teammate Pedro Piquet, who looked on course for an absolutely magnificent podium. But then his car let him down, and he stopped out on track, tragically robbing him of a podium. But at the front, Robert Schwartzman was untouchable all race. He dominated the race. The only time where he looked like he might lose it was due to a slightly unlucky timing of when the virtual safety car was withdrawn, when Armstrong was in the middle of a corner and he was on a straight, which allowed Armstrong to close the gap. But even that did not faze him. He managed to defend the lead, have the measure of Mazepin, conserve his tyres correctly, and he won the race. Ahead of Nikita Mazepin in 2nd, Louis Delatrez in 3rd, then it was Marcus Armstrong, Guan Yu Zhu, Christian Lundgaard, Mick Schumacher, who did not take advantage of Ilott's not scoring as much as he could have. Felipe Drugovich finished in 8th ahead of Nissany, Markelov, Sato, Ticktum, Alesi, Galeo, Tsunoda and Ilott, with Aitken, Samaya, Piquet, Giotto, Daruvala and Pourchaire as the retirements. So, taking a look at what that does to the drivers' standings. And Mick Schumacher actually has a smaller gap than what he did going into the weekend. He has a 15-point gap. Actually has a 14-point gap back to Callum Ilott in 2nd. Nikita Mazepin is in 3rd. Ahead of Robert Schwartzman. Both of those have closed the gap, are kind of back in the title. bit more in the title fight than they were before. Even Yuki Tsunoda is still in the title fight despite his bad weekend. Christian Lundgaard is currently in 6th place. He dropped back this weekend. Had quite a poor weekend. And Louis Delatres in 7th. Guan Yu Zhou in 8th. Felipe Drugovich in 9th with Luca Giotto rounding out the top 10. So that is it from the Road to F1 review. Thank you very much for watching this. Before I leave, make sure you follow us. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on social media platforms such as Twitter. I'm hoping that account's going to be back up and running soon. And make sure you check out the RaceWeek website at raceweekblog.com. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see. As far as live shows are concerned, of course, I said there's no midweek recap anymore. That's going to be discontinued, but they're going to be uploaded separately, the features. And I'm expecting it will be the moments of the week that will be uploaded next. But as far as live streams are concerned, we will see you on Friday for the Friday recap for the Sakhir Grand Prix. Goodbye.